Okay, welcome, and I'm back. Jet lagged, tired, able to fall asleep just sitting here quietly for a few moments at a time. It's really doing a number on me, so there will not be a daily focus for maybe a day or two until my body kind of gets straightened out. My fog is gone in my head. I can't possibly bring through messages in this state of mind. So forgive me. I know I've been trying your patience, and I'm asking just for a couple more days. But in the meantime, I did want to get back. I did want to say hello. I did want to tell you that I landed safely and I'm back home and getting back to reality. It was an adventure. It was every day was an adventure. Every day was a learning experience. Every day I learned something new, and or I saw something beautiful, or I had a great conversation, or a great food, or great drink, or just a beautiful walk, or maybe all of that happened in the same day. I went on boat rides and car rides, and it's just out, and obviously a plane because I can't swim that well. And the words can't describe. I do have pictures afterwards, but I wanted to give a thank you, a shout out to Paul for coming on here and updating you, a shout out to Jamie, to Hans, to Luca, to so many others, Michelle, Peter. Um, for those of you I couldn't get to, I apologize. I hate being in somebody's backyard and an invitation comes through and I can't do it, but I was on somebody else's agenda completely. So everything kind of had to work in, and there was a lot of areas where I just couldn't. Okay. It was out of my hands. It was out of my control. Maybe, in the future, although I do think it was a one in a lifetime opportunity, you never know what happens. You never know what's around the corner, and maybe I can come over and see you again because the Netherlands, and I stayed in the Netherlands. At one point, we went out to Vals, and I stood where the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany all come together in one point instead of all three at the same time. I saw so many sites, so many towns, and there was so many yet to explore that I never got a chance to. Each town, each city, each region had its own um, personality, so to speak. The food was incredible. The people were incredible. For the first couple of weeks, I went to a place that not many people do speak English, and I spoke no Dutch. So at times we'd have the whole restaurant working together to try and tell us what the menu said so that we could order our food. It was a learning experience. It was just like being taken out of every part of what I think. Your breakfasts are different. The food is incredible. And my throat is trying to get back into the different air zones. I did this too. I had jet lag on the beginning of the trip. Thank goodness I ran across somebody, and it was gone in like a day and a half through their help. And when you need somebody in your life, they will show up. So I needed help. I couldn't stay awake. Every time I got in the car seat, I'd wake up to a new town or a new area of the Netherlands, and but I wanted to see it all. So when I told this one gentleman in this one little storefront, he asked me several questions and said, and he gave me some stuff, and he says, just do this day one, day two, day three, and you should be fine. And by day and a half, I was corrected. So I'm trying the same technique coming home again, and hopefully it'll work. But in time, I have to cough again. Pardon me. My goodness. So yes, it's about rest and recuperation now from every day being an adventure. I think the smallest day was 10 kilometers, and the largest day, I don't know, 17, 20 kilometers. I don't know that we walked. Plus we did things along the way. We it was incredible. I have a slideshow to show you. I want to thank you all for supporting me, for allowing me to do this. I really got to connect with all of my mother's stories that she told me throughout the years about being a little girl in Holland and Karate during. the war. And of course, the German border was right there. They were on the German border. Talking about when they had to move everybody out, and how they walked in a single line with bullets going in between, and then hearing the person giving us the tour telling us these exact same words, and how people were dropping, and how not knowing how I knew my mom was in that situation. The bravery, the courage. My grandmother was, I think there was 11 or 12 kids at that point, and she was 7 months pregnant with her final child, who was born just after the war. And I learned a lot about the war's history. I learned a lot about the Netherlands history, different, Amsterdam's history, Karakrat's history, Rotterdam a little bit too. Thank you, Jamie, for that one. But I don't want to just say thank you to one person, because there was so many people that I got to meet and explore, and to grow my mind, and tap into the stories of my mom standing, in line for their portions that they were allowed for that day, and how many people didn't even get that after the war. And it was a very poor time, and that's when my mom jumped on a boat all by herself at 5 in the morning. She was about 25, and set off for Canada. And thank goodness she did, because I wouldn't be here probably talking to you today if that didn't happen. And going back, and I got to meet a lot of relatives. Plus, we went to, you know, walk mom's footsteps, and I got a lot. I got so much to see and so much to learn. The family name is still alive. You say who you are, and they instantly knew the family you were from and where they lived, and they had stories to tell that we never would have heard otherwise. But and the sense of hope they had to hold on, the sense of belief they had to hold on to, and the things they had to endure. And many people today are enduring those same things in wars and devastations around our planet. So I think, my prayer center just got a lot higher for all those people and what they're going through, because I could tap into it a little bit deeper, and feel you walk down the sidewalks. I don't think I included a picture, but you walk down the sidewalks, and I guess it's all through Europe, and it's a 2.5 year wait now to get a new family put down, but where they were taken away from, whether it was Poland or Germany or the Netherlands or Belgium, they're laying down these plates of who they were, when they were born, when they were arrested, and where and when they were put to death. And it what were they thinking at that time? They were told it was work camps, but I'm sure as the knowledge grew, I went on another tour where Anne Frank was like the baseline of the story, but there was so much more. Manuel, you're a great tour guide. uh, it was an amazing time, and words can't describe all the things. And those moments of feeling my mom close to me, and kind of seeing the world through her eyes. I got to see that they owned like the street of houses. It was the whole family kind of thing. There was like 4 or 5 houses together, and they would climb the roofs and when they were kids, and so I could see that because that was still there. And the church she went to, and she had a lot of stories. In her day growing up, you went to church first thing in the morning, then you come home, you ate breakfast, and then you went to school. So, and it was an everyday thing. So she spent a lot of time there, so there was a lot of history, and a lot of history of my family. And at moments you felt her stories come to life. There was she always talked about these woods, this forest behind her house, where her grandmother used to take all the girls to pick the berries, and I got to walk those woods. I got to go to the tunnels of my mom, and it was just amazing. And thank you, Hans, for this. But there was she had a story about you were not allowed to go, and they I mean, when you got to know what the plaque said, it was all in Dutch, and Hans helped us with that. But he was telling the story of your life was in great peril if you went in this area. You know, this was definitely off limits. And but of course, when you tell your children they're not supposed to go somewhere or do something, what do? And so my mom and one of her sisters went down into the tunnel and found an American soldier dead, and he still had a hand grenade in his hand, and they got in a lot of trouble for that. She told me, and she didn't elaborate on just how much trouble she was in for doing such a stunt. People had to risk their lives just to, get them safe and get the body out of there. And there was a plaque there, and I thought of the hundreds of thousands of people that passed away, there is a plaque about my mom's story that she told us. But there was so much about standing in the food lines and being cold, but always happy, and always the family, and there was a lot of love around her. And being such a big family, sometimes people aren't as close to each other, but in this family, everybody was very, very tight knit and very together. And it was just a wonderful opportunity. And I thank you so much for allowing me. If I didn't say, a big shout out to Paul, of course, for coming on, and for situations that were beyond our controls, he couldn't come with us. But I'm sure he would have loved to have been there and walked his grandmother's footsteps as well. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Anyways, I will leave that to you. I will be back within a day or two, I promise, to just get back into reality full swing and start giving you the daily focuses again, and more content. Just to let you know, when I put my website up, I did say that everything was a very discounted price, and so that you could utilize some of the things. And thanks for following me, and that's my present to you. And within the next, I would have to say several weeks, so you have time. But and my readings aren't going up. Okay, it's not the readings, but the books and the meditations and things like that. Some of that stuff will be going up in price to more of a reality of where they should be. And I've got things that are sitting in the rough, and I just have to fine tune them a little bit, and they'll be to you. There's a course that I'm working on, which. Um, I'm just hoping for the masterpiece that it deserves to be, for the messages that it holds for you. Anyways, in saying that, just to give you a heads up, if there was something that you were sitting on the fence with, now would be the time to buy over later, because the price will be going up. Of course, I will be holding specials and everything. Illinois, it'll be the second week in July, I believe, as I get more information. Of course, it's not a Tarot with Tilly event. It is somebody else completely, and I'm honored to be asked to be a part of that and participate in that. So I will let you know all the information as it comes around. If you're interested, maybe reach out to me, and just so that I have your name on file ahead of time. Let me know, because there will be a cutoff point, I'm sure, as there is with every spiritual retreat, right? It becomes chaos if you have too many people at an event such as that. So, without further ado, here are some pictures of just a few of the things that I saw on my trip in the Netherlands. Everybody was wonderful. Everybody was beautiful. I can't imagine a more beautiful place on the planet to choose as a place of destination for a wonderful uh, trip full of knowledge and relaxation and good drink, good food, good company. Until we meet again, remember, I do love you.